Mike Pacelli here. Thanks for tuning in. I certainly do appreciate it. And I'm sitting here with rock royalty and my neighbor in the south of France. This is Jim McCarty, who is the original drummer of the Yardbirds. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Mike.
Welcome. So
Thank
nice
you.
of you to be here.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you. Where were you raised? Let's start there.
Well, I was born in Liverpool, same as your friends. But no, I grew up in southwest London, in a place called Teddington, which is about 15 miles from the centre, the suburb.
Did you start playing at a young age?
Yeah, I was in the school group when I was about 16, 17. I was in the school group, and Paul Samuel Smith, the bass player of the Yardbirds, he was at the same school as me, so we were in the same group.
What was that group called?
That was called the Strollers.
The Strollers.
And then it became the Country Gentlemen after the Gretsch guitar.
Cool. Then Topham, when did he come into the picture?
Well, that was a bit later. That was after I'd left school. Well, all of us were left school by then. I think I was about 19, and I met up with Paul again, and Paul said, "Oh, you've got to hear this record. Come around my house." And he played me Jimmy Reed live at the Carnegie Hall, you know, and it was great stuff. And I thought, oh, I like this, because we always used to play rock and roll in the school group. We played like Buddy Holly and Crickets and all that stuff,
right.
Gene Vincent. But this was different. This was like, wow, this has got another dimension to it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is real black blues, you know, it's something else.
Right. So
we got into that music, and then, to cut a long story short, we formed the Yardbirds from, basically it was two schools, because Paul and I were at the high school, the grammar school, and the rest of them were all at Kingston Art School. So they were all budding artists, but they were all dropouts, really. So, you know, and we got together, and we started doing gigs around South London.
And that was with Top?
Yeah, with Top.
How long was Top in the band?
Well, he got it going, really. But he was much younger than the rest of us. Well, I say much younger, but a year or two was a lot in those days. And his father was an artist, and he didn't really want him to become, you know, part of a hairy rock band or whatever.
Hairy rock band.
so he wanted him to be an artist, and he was good. Top was a good artist. So he really had to leave for the sake of his parents. But it's a little bit sad. But you know, they came up with another guy from their art school called Clapton.
Yeah, so was it Top that recommended Eric Clapton?
I think Keith and Chris knew him.
Okay.
From the same art school, and he had a bit of reputation anyway by then.
Wow.
Because he played in a couple of bands, and he was obviously, you know, going to go somewhere. You know, he had that profile immediately.
So what was Eric Clapton like as a young man?
Well, he was very dedicated to the blues. He loved all the blues guitar. He practiced, and he was also very enthusiastic about the way he looked, about the way he presented himself.
With fashion, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, he was into fashion?
Yeah, he was very fashionable. And he had that when he first joined the band. He had a sort of an Ivy League thing, you know, Steve McQueen type of thing.
Oh, wow. Really?
You know, with a crew cut. And
he had short hair. I remember the photos.
Yeah, short hair and a suit.
And what were you guys dressed like?
Well, we didn't care. We just, you know, old leather jackets or whatever. You know, I was never really bothered with fashion, but Eric was very smart.
But personality-wise, what was he like in the young days?
Well, he was funny. I mean, he was a bit. When I first saw him, I thought, oh, this guy's a bit full of himself. He's a bit of a show-off, you know. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. but no, he developed into a good friend, and we always had a good laugh.
So those early gigs, what were the early gigs like? What was your first gigs? Where would you be playing?
We play old pubs or King Collier's Club in the middle of London. Late sessions.
Right.
And but our big break was to play the Crawdaddy Club in Richmond, which is in Surrey, and that's where the Stones used to play.
Mm-hmm.
So we replaced the Stones.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit odd, but the people took to us because we were a bit different to the
Did you have a
Stones.
manager at that time?
Yeah, the guy that ran the club became our manager. Giorgio Gamelski is
cool.
a sort of a real sort of bohemian Russian, Swiss, Italian guy, all that mixture.
Wow. And so did he help get the record deal initially?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you signed, what label was it?
We went on to EMI because
EMI.
basically there was just two labels, Decca and EMI, and the Stones were on Decca, so we plumped for EMI, and then we went from there.
And it was kind of initially kind of a blues band, correct?
Yeah. We were a blues cover band. We did all the, Jimmy Reed, Chuck Berry, Muddy Waters, Bo Diddley, all that stuff.
And you did an album with a blues impresario, correct? Who was it?
Sonny Boy Williams.
That's right. A live album.
Yeah, because Giorgio used to be part of the National Jazz Federation in London.
I see.
And they used to bring all these blues players over. And they used to play gigs in England, big halls.
If you'd like to hear really what 60s rock and blues sounded like with Eric Clapton on guitar as a young man, that's the album to get, right? Because that's one of the few albums that actually has that, which is a good recording of that era of blues. Yeah.
There's only one trouble. Sonny Boy, we ran out over all the songs. We rehearsed all the songs with Sonny Boy.
Right.
And then when it came to the gig, he played a load of different songs. You know how it is.
I do, yeah.
Because he was a big Jack Daniels fan.
Well, there you go then. So you guys had a hit. What was the first hit? For Your Love, right?
Yeah. We were playing with the Beatles actually.
Yeah, tell us about that.
At Hammersmith in South London. We were the local band, and we were part of the lineup. Supporting, and there was a publisher there that had a demo disc of For Your Love, and he thought, this would suit this band. So he got it to the manager, and then it came from Graham Gouldman, who was from Manchester, sort of around the Hollies area and all that stuff, and so we did it.
Back up though, you just mentioned, and we were playing with the Beatles. What do you remember about that?
A couple of stories you might want to hear.
Yeah, it would be great.
There was one we didn't see them very often, but they were always very friendly. And one night McCartney came into our dressing room and he said, I've written a new song. Would you like to hear it? So, okay.
Sure.
Yes, please. So he played this song, and it was Yesterday, but it didn't have the words. He was singing Scrambled Egg.
Right.
You know,
Sitting softly on my breakfast plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
like that.
we stood there sort of aghast. You know, what a great song, you know? With the right lyrics, of course.
Yeah. So in those days, you guys were playing. You had no monitors, did you?
No, it's horrific for me. I because the guitars were so loud.
Yeah,
obviously.
What would Eric Clapton's amp be back then?
Probably an AC30.
An AC30. Wow. What guitar was Clapton playing back there? Do you remember that?
I think he played a telly.
That's right. I remember the pictures. Yeah. Fantastic. So anyhow, then you guys get a hit record, and Eric decides to go, and you need a replacement for Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
And originally wasn't it? I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it first Jimmy Page was suggested to you guys?
Yes.
So after Eric Clapton, but that didn't work out, and you ended up getting who?
Jeff Beck.
Oh yeah, Jeff Beck.
Well, Jimmy recommended him because he was his understudy.
Oh yeah.
Because Jimmy used to play on a lot of recordings. He was a session player in London, and Jeff Beck played them if he couldn't. So
Jimmy Page didn't want to give up his session work to be in a band.
That's right.
And instead he says, well, here, have this guy, and you get Jeff Beck.
Yeah, Jimmy was a top man, so he didn't want to join.
Wow. So now I got it. What was Jeff Beck like? Jeff would be how old then?
Well, he'd probably be about 20 or something.
20. So what's a 20-year-old Jeff Beck like?
Well, he was totally different from Eric. He wasn't fashion conscious at all. He didn't care. So he had an old, dirty old leather jacket on and jeans with all car oil and everything on it, because he would be working on the cars. Yeah. With this long, greasy hair.
Oh, wow.
Nothing like he looked, now or whatever.
Yeah. Was he a practicer? Did he like to practice a lot?
Oh, yeah. But he was very gifted. And he would play just off the top of his head all the time. And he could play anything. He played blues really well and, Les Paul and all that stuff, and jazz.
Yeah. So you're on the road. Any road stories with early Jeff Beck that you care to share?
Yeah. Well, we were the same, because I was always the joker in the band. So Jeff and I had lots of jokes, and we liked things like The Saint on TV, and we did Roger Moore impressions and things.
Oh, wow. It's incredible. I mean, to go from Clapton to Jeff Beck.
It was lucky, wasn't it?
Oh, and some amazing tunes. And how long was Jeff in the band? Like a couple years, 2 years, maybe?
Yeah, he was in the band during the best time.
Yeah, when you do all the TV shows and...
Yeah, when we had all the hits. Because he came in just when For Your Love was then going up the charts. So.
All right. So, and then did he got ill or something? Did Jeff? he got ill?
Well, he used to get ill, but he got very stressed. He was a very stressful guy, and especially about his sound and all the touring, because it was very hard. It was hard work.
Were you flying to the gigs in those days?
Well, yeah. We had an old bus driving around America and stuff. So it was hard. It was hard work. And Jeff got very stressed, and then we had this terrible tour, the Dick Clark Caravan of Stars.
Oh, you did that? Wow.
And it was, could have been 1 or 2 times a night playing different venues and playing with all the wrong people, Sam the Sham and Brian Hyland. Yeah. What's all this about? And Jeff didn't like it, so he did one gig and then he stormed off in a temper and disappeared.
Oh, he just quit?
Well, he disappeared,
And then Jimmy Page?
And then we already had Jimmy Page.
Oh, wait, Jimmy was playing bass?
Yeah.
How did that happen? You lost your bass player?
Paul Samuel Smith, the bass player, he got stressed, and he got fed up with playing as well, and he left the band. And then Jimmy said, I'll join. I'll play bass.
Oh, wow.
This was like 2 years later.
Huh.
So he came in on bass originally, and then him and Chris swapped over.
Nice. And then you had 2 guitars.
Yeah.
And so Jeff's out, so now Jimmy's in.
Yeah.
So are you paying attention? So this gentleman here went from Eric Clapton as his guitar player to Jeff Beck as his guitar player to Jimmy Page as his guitar player.
We fell on our feet, as they say.
Oh, man. What was Jimmy like in his early days?
Well, Jimmy was used to doing sessions, so you more or less told him how the song was. I'll play. I'll play as you want me to play. That was the way he thought.
Yeah.
So he was very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Fashionable.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, he had all the old, the scarves and the old Lord Kitchener's gear, all that stuff.
What year is that? 66 maybe now?
Yeah, 66. Sort of more modish, hippie-ish.
Yeah. But friendly, nice to get around, good guy?
Yeah, got on really well.
And I think that's when he first started with the cello bow, too, right? In the YARDBIRDS.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he had some idea. I think he got that from someone else.
Could be. Well, we all get everything.
Don't we all?
Yeah, absolutely. So that went on for a few years, and then of course, let's see. When the band split up, you had a new band. Was it Renaissance?
Yeah.
Yeah. You went to Renaissance.
Yes.
And Page went to Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
Yeah. Was there ever a consideration for you to be in Led Zeppelin?
Well, sort of, but we got fed up with you know, we got fed up with the band really because it was playing so much, and it wasn't really going anywhere because it was only really gigs, and we didn't really have that chemistry in the band to write. You know, and other shapes of things or over under. And then we had Mickey Most as a producer. He didn't work for us.
But he went on to do Jeff's first album, right?
Yeah.
He did, what was it called? Truth.
Yes.
Right.
And he did Hi Ho Silver Lining.
Right.
So basically all that happened in the space of 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Incredible.
All that, you know. So it was like 2 lifetimes or something.
Well, you guys were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which says a lot, and just the fact that, you know, you were so important to cats like me coming up. Like, I mean, that band was just they were the shit. You know, they really were. And for you out there, what we're going to do, Jim has been gracious enough to, you know, I do sound alike, so we're going to do some Yardbird stuff. We're going to do like Jeff's Boogie and whatever else we decide to do. So we'll be doing some of that early Jeff Beck music in honor of Jeff, and I'll have Jim play on the tracks, and then I'll try to recreate early Jeff Beck, because I maybe could do that. I certainly couldn't do later Jeff Beck, because I don't think anybody could. But I think I could do okay on the early stuff. So you know, I really appreciate your you wanting to do that.
Pleasure, Mike. I've been watching your YouTube stuff, and it's always very well done.
Thank you.
Well put together.
Well, I take my time, as you can see. It's a one-man show here.
Yeah, but very clever.
That's fantastic. Well, I hope this is the start of a you know, mutual rewarding relationship for both of us. And
so do I.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Stay tuned.
Cheers.